Have you ever felt like you were running a race where the finish line keeps moving further away? You have worked hard for 40 years, you have saved every penny, and you have played by the rules. Yet, as you look at the current state of the world, that feeling of absolute security still feels frustratingly out of reach. The truth is, the average American household is facing a silent storm that no one on the evening news is talking about. It is a storm that quietly erodes the foundation of everything you have built. Recent data shows that an individual reaching the age of 65 today may need as much as $165,000 just to cover future healthcare costs alone. That is not even including your daily expenses, your travel plans, or the legacy you want to leave for your children and grandchildren. If you feel a sense of unease when you look at your bank account, I want you to know that you are right to be worried. The traditional financial system was never designed to make you wealthy or to give you peace of mind. It was designed to keep you participating in a system that benefits the massive institutions far more than the individuals. But there is a different path. A map that the elite have used for generations to stay in control regardless of inflation, market crashes, or political instability. This map consists of 7 distinct levels of investing, and each one requires a different mindset. Today, we are going to walk through each level in deep detail so you can identify exactly where you are standing right now. More importantly, we will discuss the specific psychological shifts you need to make to move to the next stage. It is time for you to finally take back the wheel of your financial ship and navigate toward calmer waters. Level 1 is what we call the high-interest debt payer. This is the most dangerous and exhausting place to be, especially if you are 55 or older. At this level, you are not building wealth. You are actually a modern-day slave to the banking system. Think about that for a moment. With credit card interest rates currently soaring above 20% in the United States, every dollar you owe is a heavy anchor dragging you down. Every month you carry a balance, you are handing over your hard-earned freedom to a billion-dollar corporation. Paying off a credit card with a 20% interest rate is the single best, risk-free investment you can make because it gives you a guaranteed 20% return. If you are at this level, your only mission is to stop the bleeding before it sinks your entire future. You must attack these debts with a sense of urgency, using every extra dollar to buy back your independence. Once the debt is gone, you can finally begin to see the sun rising on your financial horizon. Level 2 is the saver. For our generation, we were told from a very young age that saving money was the ultimate virtue. Our parents and grandparents lived through times where a savings account was enough. But those days are long gone. In an era of high inflation, a standard savings account is where your money goes to die a slow and painful death. When the cost of living rises by 4 or 5% and your bank pays you less than 1%, you are losing purchasing power every single hour. It is like trying to fill a bucket that has an invisible hole in the bottom. Being a saver is certainly better than being in debt, but it is a purely defensive strategy that will never lead to true financial power. The saver lives in fear of losing what they have, not realizing that the system is already taking it away through the hidden tax of inflation. To move past this level, you must realize that cash is a tool to be used, not a trophy to be hoarded. Level 3 is the passive investor. This is the level where most people stop because it feels safe and modern. You put your money into a Standard & Poor's 500 index fund or a target date retirement account, and you hope for the best. While this works well for a 20 or 30-year-old with decades to spare, it can be a hidden trap for someone nearing retirement. We call this the sequence of returns risk, and it is the primary reason why many retirees run out of money. If the market drops significantly in the first few years after you stop working, your entire 40-year plan could collapse. Passive investing is a wonderful tool for growth, but it lacks the precision and the defensive control needed for the second half of your life. A passive investor is a passenger on a ship, hoping the captain knows where he is going. To advance, you must move from the passenger seat to the navigator's desk. Level 4 is the do-it-yourself investor. This is the person who watches the financial news channels, reads the blogs, and tries to pick individual stocks to beat the market. The problem at this level is the constant noise and the emotional manipulation of the media. Wall Street spends billions of dollars every year to keep you emotional and reactive. They want you jumping in and out of positions based on fear of a crash or the greed of a new trend. At level 4, you are often working a stressful second job as a researcher without even realizing it. You are constantly checking your phone, worrying about pre-market numbers and international news. True wealth is not about spending 8 hours a day staring at glowing red and green numbers on a tiny screen. That is just a different kind of job, and it is one that often pays very poorly when you factor in the stress and the risk. Level 5 is the advanced investor. This is the stage where the magic truly begins to happen. You stop looking at flickering stock prices and you start looking at the actual values of businesses. An advanced investor understands how to read a balance sheet and identifies companies that produce consistent, growing cash flow. You are no longer gambling on a hot tip from a neighbor or a social media influencer. Instead, you are buying high-quality assets that have a proven track record of surviving every economic cycle since the Great Depression. You look for companies with wide moats and strong management that can raise prices even when inflation is high. At this level, you are a part owner of the most productive machines in human history. You are no longer afraid of a market dip. You see it as a chance to buy more of a great company at a discount. Level 6 is the portfolio manager. At this level, you begin to act like the chief executive officer of your family's entire financial future. You are not just buying individual stocks. You are balancing a sophisticated and resilient mix of assets. This includes cash reserves, real estate, precious metals, and equities. You understand how to use insurance to protect your downside and how to use the tax code to your advantage. A portfolio manager does not panic when the market crashes because they have already built a financial bunker to protect their lifestyle. You are focused on the big picture, making sure that your family is protected regardless of who is in the White House or what is happening in the global economy. You are the architect of a system that generates income for you while you sleep, travel, or spend time with those you love. Finally, we reach level 7, the capital deployer. This is the pinnacle of the financial world, the level inhabited by the most successful people in history. A capital deployer does not work for money. Their money is a highly trained army that works for them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. At this level, you are providing the fuel for new businesses to grow or acquiring entire assets that will generate wealth for generations to come. You have moved beyond the need for a paycheck and entered the realm of true legacy. A capital deployer thinks in decades and centuries, not weeks and months. You are creating a fountain of wealth that will nourish your children, your grandchildren, and the causes you believe in long after you are gone. Now, I want you to take a deep breath and be completely honest with yourself. Which of these 7 levels truly describes your current situation today? Are you still fighting the exhausting debt monsters of level 1? Or are you starting to manage your portfolio with the wisdom of level 6? The most important thing I want you to remember is that your age is not a Raucan. It is actually your greatest advantage. You have the life experience, the emotional stability, and the perspective that a 20-year-old can only dream of. The transition from a saver to a master investor is a psychological shift far more than a technical one. It requires you to stop being afraid of what might happen and start being confident in the systems you have built. In the next 90 days, your goal should not be to reach level 7 immediately. That is a marathon, not a sprint. Your goal is simply to master the level you are currently in and take one decisive step forward. If you are at level 1, make a plan today to eliminate your debts and reclaim your soul. If you are at level 2, move your cash into assets that actually outpace the rising cost of living. If you are at level 3, start learning how to manage your own risks instead of blindly outsourcing your future to a fund manager you have never met. The path to absolute freedom is paved with small, calculated, and disciplined decisions. It is not built on giant risky leaps of faith or getting lucky with a single stock. You have spent a lifetime building your character, your skills, and your reputation. Now is the time to build the fortress that will protect you and your family forever. The rules of the financial game have changed many times over the years, but the ultimate goal remains exactly the same: independence, total control, and the deep peace of mind to enjoy the fruits of your 40 years of labor. You are the author of this final, most important chapter of your life, and the pen is firmly in your hand. Start today by deciding that you will no longer be a spectator in your own financial story. Become the commander of your wealth and the master of your time. Your future self, and the generations that follow you, will thank you for the courage you show right now. Thank you for listening, and remember, the best time to start was 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. Take control of your journey, and I will see you at the next level.